Namaste Losties, coming up. Faraday, Smoke Monster and Ms. Hawking. This is your midweek edition of the official fan show for Lost on Sky One. I'm joined as always by him and him. Now, in the episode, The Variable, it smells a bit boys in here. It's a bit boysy today. It's not very hot, but it's good for it. Now, in the episode, The Variable, which was awesome. I would go as far as saying my favourite episode of season 5.
Yeah, it's mine too.
Yeah?
One of the best, yeah.
Okay, one of them.
Yeah. Well, I've got a few favourites.
We learned a little bit about Daniel Faraday. Now, he's English, isn't he? And he's born in England. It's just hard to tell. They don't do accents very well on this programme, and that's very disappointing.
It was a bit. You'd think that with an English mum, he'd have more of an English accent.
You think? Can you not get an English? And he's obviously an American kid trying.
Yeah.
Fair play. Can you not get an English kid?
No.
And the mum the accent wasn't very good there. She was kind of a bit Mary Poppins.
But
oh, blimey.
Faraday's not.
What?
You're saying Faraday's English. He's got a very flat accent. It's almost like a.
Well, he's the offspring of an Australian and an English woman.
So yeah, but when was that shot taking place with the piano? Was that in America or?
No, that's got. I think that's got to be in England.
Okay.
I think he must have grown up in England.
Okay.
It's kind of the.
But what
that's
can
what
we
I was
do?
querying
It's futile to try and. We
right.
make this point every week, and they're not going to suddenly
Okay.
just.
Okay, let's go back to the show then. How does Ms. Hawking get off the island?
I didn't even consider that actually.
Yeah.
Come on, Paul.
Oh, okay. Sub.
But when? Now? Because there's the incident looming. Does she get off then? Does Output have okay, everybody, we're going to do an evacuation type thing as well. Let's get people off. And Faraday's been off the island for 3 years. Okay, how did he get off? Must have got off the submarine, but why and when and for what reason? And what happened in those 3 years?
Next season we'll get a special, won't we?
But we keep hearing about Ann Arbor, don't we? Something that's going on at Ann Arbor. That's where he's been. So scientific, ranch.
He's brilliant, isn't he, with the memory loss? And it's explained. I was quite happy with the explanation of why he's crying when he sees. Well, it wasn't explained. He's ill. He wasn't quite explained, but it's kind of set up a little bit better. You were saying he's crying. The first time we see him, he's crying watching the rescue of the fake Oceanic 815. And your theory is.
Well, it seemed to completely mirror the Desmond stuff earlier on in this season, where Desmond wakes up in the start because he's had a dream, but he's had a new memory uploaded from the past. So I thought it was like a memory from the 1977 stuff coming through into this present time. Similar kind of thing,
We got an email from Dharma Chameleon. I'm suspicious of Ms. Hawking's motives despite her apparent sadness in The Variable at what Faraday had to do. It's still possible she is in charge of a third faction and that her son has to be sacrificed in order to make it all happen the way she wants it to. I'm also wondering if Ms. Hawking told Desmond not to marry Penny, not because he was needed on the island, but because she wanted Widmore's daughter to suffer as her son had to suffer. I'm beginning to think she's not very nice. Could be an element of that in there.
I just like the ending. I'm beginning to think she's not very nice. She's just spent her whole life sending her son to death.
I think they know they've got a big plan for this island. I think it is kind of going to be world saving. This island, unless it's under some kind of control, is going to do something that ends the world.
But that's what Hawking says to Desmond in season 3, isn't it? She says, if you don't do all these things, if you don't go to the island, all of us are dead. So she means like seems to be about space-time continuum correction rather than just the island.
Is it personal sacrifice? Does she think that she's going to cease to exist? And that's rubbish because. So I'm arguing with myself now, but
we enjoy it. It makes our job easier.
But I think the island has the potential of destroying the world.
We've got a forum post from Angry Charlie. I don't think it's very likely at all that Faraday was born on the island. Now, that was you that was saying he was born on the island, weren't
Sounds
you?
like something I'd say, yeah.
Nonsense. Consider that the nosebleeds they suffered earlier in the season when time was skipping. Supposedly, they got them in order of who spent the most time on the island, and the order went Charlotte, Miles, Juliet, Sawyer. Daniel never got a nosebleed. Therefore, he spent less time on the island than Sawyer, who at that time had only spent about 4 or so months on the island since the plane crash. I took that to mean that unlike Charlotte and Miles, the first time Daniel set foot on the island, was when he jumped out of the helicopter from the freighter. Angry Charlie has well and truly dissed you, my friend.
Well, let me just go and slap Angry Charlie in the face by saying that he could be born on the island and then immediately leave it. Thus, he could be spending a very short amount of time on the island. So, have some of that for breakfast and tea.
Tasty. I've got an email from Dan. I've got a theory about Bram and his role on the show. He's the fellow with Ilana, wasn't he, the other on the plane. I believe that Bram was an exiled other at a point before Ben was brought to the island, which is why Ben doesn't recognise him. I believe that he asks Miles and Lapidus the statue question because since his departure from the island, he has kept an eye on Widmore and his plans. Bram was exiled by Widmore as a teenager and has ever since held a grudge against him. This explains why Bram has his own crew. Bram's been shot, hasn't he?
No,
Caesar, sorry, you're right, yes.
Shot, yeah.
Bram is his own crew, who have obviously been contacting those in which Widmore was in pursuit of. Also, I feel that Geeky Tom should change his style from that blue sweatshirt he's been wearing in the past 2 Lost Initiative podcasts, but then again, Geeky Tom is the man, know that.
Hey, there we
know
go.
that, brother. What blue sweatshirt have I been... Oh, the really bright one.
Yeah. He's wearing quite a nice shirt, so I like his shirt.
Nice.
Okay, what do you make about this Bram thing?
What, another faction of him just being a bit annoyed that he got banished?
But they've got to be DI, haven't they? DI. Dharma Initiative.
Maybe. Yeah. I think they're Widmore for some reason. I still think Widmore is... I just don't know anymore. I just don't know. Get somebody else on the show.
I think for the next shows we should do, it should just be us sat there 15 minutes going, well, I don't know. Because it's getting to the point where I can't talk about it because it's now so complicated and so involved. Bram, an ousted other, I'm not sure I necessarily buy that.
No, it gives him, a lot of weight and a lot of importance on the show, but he seems to be...
Maybe he's US military, I don't know. We don't have any governments involved. We've always said this. Why don't we have any government? After watching 24, I want a government involved. Maybe it's Jack Bauer's crew. Maybe he wants a piece
He's
of the
mentioned
island.
Jack Bauer. It's time to move on to the next email, which is from Murphy. After watching The Variable, I began to think that maybe the temple is not necessarily in one time period, but it is like a medium between all levels of time, past, present, and indeed the future. My theory is that when one enters the temple, then they are not in their own time period, but totally outside the realm of time itself, and it acts as a sort of gateway between past, present, and future. Therefore, when Jack enters the temple, he will meet John and Ben, who are also in the temple as well, and then decide what to do next. I I like the fact that maybe the temple's timeless, but I don't like the idea that you walk in and you meet each
who?
other.
So why would it? It just serves no reason.
That's like Mr. Ben.
I say no, there's a McDonald's on the island. Don't know why it's there, but it's there. And you'll meet
it's not like that, saying that at all. You've missed the point. Murphy is saying that the temple is timeless.
Yeah.
It's outside of time.
But what would that even do or mean or?
Well, we know there's time travel.
Yes, I know that.
Well, if it's like the epicenter of that occurring, then that's...
So the timeless temple...
I don't agree with the theory, but at least it does tie into the show,
As in it has time in...
What's your problem?
I just don't
It's quite a nice email.
I just don't understand it. And I get angry when I don't understand stuff.
I'm so sorry, Murphy. Tom's in a bit of a mood. Hey, if you'd like to send us an email and try and upset Tom, then the email address is lostonsky1 at sky.com, lostonsky1 at sky.com. We're also on the Bebo, the Twitter, the MySpace, and the Facebook. Now, the variable, we had it confirmed, what I've suspected for a long time, that Ms. Hawking and Charles Widmore are the parents of Faraday. No real surprise
Another
there.
dark father, thrown to the mix.
And I guess that's perhaps the... Is that are they the two people that Ben talks about when he says he exiles Faraday and says you've been off the island having a little bit of hanky-panky with normal people? Because she's on the island, of course. I'm getting confused. She's on the island.
We've missed something quite obvious here.
Go on.
That Penny's now related to Daniel.
A half-brother and sister.
Who's...
A half-brother and sister. Unlikely that Hawking is Penny's mother, I would have thought.
We don't know though. Have we met Penny's mother?
No, but the fact that Widmore says, "Oh, I've sacrificed the daughter as well."
I think they would have had more of an honest chat about it if that was the case. But but good point.
Cool. That's all.
Well, again, the half brothers and half sisters, of course, with Claire and Jack as well. That's a vaguely recurring thing.
Very strange.
Hawking, does she get banished? Does she get booted off? Does she leave the island through choice? Does she leave the island because Widmore gets her up the duff? That's Latin for pregnant.
But maybe for the safety of the child, the whole birth on the island, maybe that
births are fine at that point.
But maybe it becomes a problem in a timeline after that
she
fact.
gets the journal and it says, around about now is when you want to leave the island. Go and have me.
But she still has access to things like the lamppost and Dharma Station the Dharma station.
Which makes me think that she's working for Dharma. The fact that she pops up in Desi's past,
which means that previous email, was quite good.
Maybe she invents Dharma.
I've got an email from Chris. Oh, here we go. I'd like to stick up for Geeky Tom here, if I may. You may. His suggestion that Smokey is in fact Jacob wouldn't really be all that far-fetched. You remember saying that?
No.
Well, you did. You said it the other week.
We do.
We've seen plenty of religious symbolism in the show so far. Mr. Echo and his Jesus stick, Ben's recount of the tale of doubting Thomas from earlier this season, Hurley's mother banging on about Jesus not being a weapon, etc. I'm not a religious man, but as I understand it, God, Jesus and the Holy Spirit are believed to be the same entity in different forms. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. 3 persons existing as one being. If we apply that to Lost, you hate it already because it's mentioned religion.
It's got religion in it.
If we apply that to Lost, Smokey could well be the spirit form of this mythical godhead we've heard of named Jacob. That brings with it the interesting question of who fills the Son's shoes. Richard Alpert, perhaps? Peace and love and all that. Tell Tom he owes me a curly whirly. Is that a euphemism for something? I don't know.
do you know Chris? Or?
Well, no. He's harking back to when we were betting chocolate bars on our theories.
Smoking being Jacob is a possibility, but you don't like it when religion becomes the dominating force. I mean, it's a vague thing that weaves in and out, but
I don't think it should be the reason. I think it could be. It could have a bit of.
Could be a metaphor.
I think exactly. I think there are vaguely religious things, but it's not just Christianity. It's from all of the major religions that bits and pieces are popping up. But I don't think that the answer, lies in the good book for this. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't say so.
No.
A Bible story. Now, okay, in the variable, Richard Alpert seemed to look genuinely scared when Faraday is pointing to. That was a brilliant bit. I really thought he was going to shoot him. I really thought he was going to do it. Does that, the fact that Alpert looks so scared, does that mean he can die?
Just because he's immortal doesn't mean he's invincible.
Doesn't it?
I don't know, does it?
I think immortal...
Why is that even funny?
I think immortal does mean you're invincible,
That's why I laughed,
I think it does. I think immortal means...
Yeah, but you can never grow old, but you can...
No, not if you're immortal, you can't.
He's ageless, but he can still be shot.
Do you know what? You're saying that with such conviction, it makes you look even more of an idiot.
Why? It makes perfect sense up here. It makes perfect sense.
Imagine being inside Tom's head, even for just a second. It'd be horrible, wouldn't it? Is Alpert? I'm worried they're going to take Faraday to the temple and try and heal him and do that kind of thing.
No, I think it feels like Tom was saying about the end of the path of Mrs. Hawking's journey to guide her son to the island to his death seems to be, what happened.
Why are you scared? I think that's going to be good.
I don't people being reanimated. I don't like it.
Why?
I think it's cheating.
What about Locke?
It's different there.
Yeah, it looks special.
It's different there. Very quickly, we've got 3 more emails. Let's rattle through these. Pete Wright says, I think it's possible that the statue is Richard. On a side note,
where'd that come from?
Namely based on the fact that in an interview, Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse made a point of saying we'll be seeing Richard barefoot in the very near future. Why else would that be relevant?
I don't like it when they
No,
do
I don't
stuff
trust
like
that.
that.
I don't trust you two guys. You say stuff to wind us up, and I don't trust either of you.
Very
Ross has emailed. Me and my friend were lucky enough to go to the new Star Trek film premiere in After Party.
Wow.
Have you seen that yet?
No, it's very good.
Very excited. Very excited.
You must be very
There we met Mr. J.J. Abrams.
You
Oh!
didn't meet him.
I asked whether Richard Alpert is the four-toed statue. His reply was shaking his head and moving his hand side to side in the form of a maybe, maybe not. Well, hang on, let's do that. Shaking your head and moving your... That's no. That's get away from me. Security.
Did they make up his response while they were getting dragged away?
Dan has emailed in. Geeky Tom, why do you mumble so much? I don't read the emails before we do this, and that's wonderful.
I don't know.
It kind of gets annoying.
Really?
Could you please speak up? Thanks. And I think I like the cameraman more than you. From Dan. Any mumbles?
Is that you? Did you send this in? You sent this in, didn't you?
Thank you, Tom. That was all right, wasn't it?
One of our better ones.
Yeah, thank you. It's good, though, wasn't it? Cheers, Paul. Lovely. Join us next Sunday when we'll be having our special Geek Off quiz. I'm very excited about that. We won't be discussing episode 15 because, rather seriously and tragically, I'm going to be on a really fantastic, expensive holiday. So, sorry about that. But fear not, Losties, because we will all be back together for the big finale at the end of the series. The end is so near.
Just a few weeks, yeah.
Very, very sad. In the meantime, you can watch all of our Lost Initiative shows so far at sky.com/lost. Keep your theories and your emails coming in, please. Until Sunday, namaste.
because he's immortal doesn't mean he's invincible.
Doesn't it?